Alrighty, let's go. We are back with another episode of the Squishy Sports Podcast. Now we'll get into your main stuff. I'll get into the NRL Round 25 review that we've got going here. Another awesome weekend. I wasn't able to watch all 8 games. I tried to watch as much as I can, so if I am doing a game review and I haven't got too much in depth on the game, I do apologize. I was busy on my weekends, on the Saturday especially. I did go to the Warriors game on Saturday, so you can imagine we've travelled back from Brisbane and the Gold Coast that I probably wasn't able to watch too much of the Manly game, and I wasn't able to watch too much of the Eels and Roosters game, but I'll definitely be trying my best for sure. So we'll start with the ladder, and Raiders are still at the top, 42 points. They had probably their grand final win almost, or one of the best wins I've seen in a long time against Panthers on the weekend. We knew this was going to be one of the games of the year. Out at Mudgee, which is a great field to see as well. We knew we were expecting a final sort of clash, and that's exactly what we got. Golden Point, and I mean, let's just talk about it. The Cleary field goal absolutely striped it and hits the post. Clangers off the post. You can see the post bouncing around everywhere. And Jed Stewart, off the bounce, he jumps up, he gets it. You can see Liam Martin actually pulls himself back from tackling Jed Stewart, worried about giving away a penalty for tackled in the air. Which, if you look at the rules now, you're allowed to tackle a player in the air if they're jumping up to catch a bouncing ball. So, if he had known that actually, then it could have been a whole different story. Pulled himself out of the tackle. Jed Stewart was able to escape that, break one tackle, give it off to Ethan Strange. Soon as this kid gets a bit of open space, he can just take off. That's exactly what he did. He broke one tackle, and he broke off Dylan Edwards, going down the sideline, and I believe Tom Jenkins made an awesome run from the left wing to try and cover that. Pass it inside, KO Weeks puts the ball down. A monumental victory for Canberra and Canberra fans. As I said, sits them at 42 points at the top, lost 4. Every team in the top 8 now has had all their 3 byes. If they win this weekend, they're in the box seat to win the minor premiership. They've got the Tigers this weekend at home. You'd think they're going to win that. I'd be shocked. I'd be shocked if they didn't. And then they play the Dolphins for the minor premiership next week. They can lock up the minor premiership this week if they do beat the Tigers and then the Roosters are able to beat the Storm. There'll be no way that any team can catch the Raiders. They have definitely locked in a top 2 spot without any fail at all. Mathematically cannot drop out of the top 2, so they will secure a home final in week 1 of the finals, either against Bulldogs or it'll most likely be between the Warriors, the Broncos, or the Sharks. And they've got such a good home field advantage. It's going to be so tough for any of those 3 teams I just mentioned to go down to Canberra with finals intensity and try and knock off this Canberra team. They are flying high at the moment. I believe they have the best record against the whole top 8 this year. It's about 7-2, I want to say, maybe 7-1. And that performance on the weekend just solidified it. So, second, we've got Storm at 40 points. As we've just said, there's still a chance of winning the minor premiership. They do have a better points difference than the Raiders, so they can win this weekend and next weekend. And if Raiders go like win-loss or loss-win, Storm will get the minor premiership. So whether that's a massive priority, whether they feel confident playing the Bulldogs again down there in week 1, we'll just have to wait and see. So speaking of Bulldogs, they are sitting in third by themselves at 36. They had a really gallant effort on the weekends. I think they can definitely take a lot away from that game for sure. I would say they're probably going to be finishing third now. They do play the Panthers this week. And what we've learnt from the Panthers today is they've just gone from -4.5 to +8.5 now when I'm recording this. And you might be thinking, what the fuck has happened there? Word come out, Panthers are going to be resting a lot of their stars this week, particularly Cleary. So it looks like I'd say Edwards, Yo will get a rest as well. And I think it's smart. I think it's smart. Panthers, they can't really finish top 4 anymore. So really good chance for the Doggies to win this weekend, solidify third spot. Not sure who they've got next week, but does look like they'll most likely finish third. And at this stage, we'll be heading back down to Melbourne for a rematch. Finals week 1 for a spot for a home prelim. Anything can happen when it comes to finals, so definitely intrigued to see that. Hanging on to 4th is my boys, the Waz. We had a really good win on the weekend. I know it's just against the Titans, but I was still really happy with it. And it was a performance we really did need, I thought. Because, as I said, we're on 34 by ourselves. Our points difference is only 26. It is by far the worst points difference in the comp until we get to Manly at 10th. And I believe we're going to have to win out. I believe we're going to have to beat Eels this weekend, and then we're going to have to try and beat Manly at Manly next weekend. And DCE's last game for most likely last game for Manly, definitely going to be his last home game for Manly. That is super scary to think about. I'll start thinking about that next week. And here we've got 2 teams that are really in form, and they could definitely finish top 4. Broncos, they're on 32 points. 2 points, 1 win off the Warriors. They're absolutely flying at the moment. They've just put 46 on Newcastle on the weekend. Reece Walsh is looking good. He's absolutely flying. Katoni Staggs is going to another level at the moment. You've got Payne Haas. You've got Pat Carrigan. You've got Reynolds still to come back. You've got Hunt still filling in at 7, which is not even a bad thing whatsoever. You've got such a good backline, as we know. Well, they're going to be super threatening. They've got Cowboys this week. They should beat the Cowboys. And then they've got the Storm next week. There could be potential that is for a top 4 spot. We will see come next week. Also on 32, we've got the Sharkies. They're just coming off a bye last week. And the Sharkies are a bit weird. Like, they've got Newcastle this week, who showed an absolutely hammer. But would you be surprised if the Sharks just didn't turn up whatsoever? Like, they're kind of being that team that's a little bit of a fraudy team this year. I say fraud because, like, we know they can be the top 4 team in their day. We know they can be a top 8 team on their day. Can they do it when the time matters? History says no. So, I think the exact same thing will happen. If they finish 5th, or let's say they finish 5th, they're going to most likely be playing the Panthers or probably the Roosters at this stage in a home final. It'll be at Shark Park, but I'd be backing the Roosters. They played the Sharks at Shark Park in the final there last year, and the Roosters got up. So why can't they do it again? Continuing on, Panthers, we spoke about them a little bit before. They're on 31 points. Pretty much mathematically cannot make the top 4 anymore. They'll need a lot of things to go their way. They are 3 points back off the top 4. They have essentially secured themselves a top 8 spots. They're locked in, hence why they're resting a lot this week. They're probably going to finish 7th, in all honesty. They're 3 points ahead of the Roosters. They are 1 point behind the Broncos and the Sharks, but going by the odds, they'll probably lose against the Doggies this week, and then they've got the Dragons next week. So you expect them to probably lose this week, rest up, and then clobber the Dragons the week after. Get ready for finals, week 1. Doesn't matter if they're on the road or at home or not. They haven't really had a home stadium this year. And at the moment, you'd probably back the Panthers to beat one of those bottom 4 sides in the first week of finals, and then go on to the second week and see if they go from there. Roosters to top off the top 8 at 28 points. They had a really disappointing loss on the weekend. Really, they were favourites to win that game, and they just didn't show up. They got completely outplayed. They've got a massive contest against the Storm this weekend in Melbourne. Without the 7, Sammy Walker, yes, Sandon will step in. He has been all year. He's been really, really good in my opinion. Storm without Hughes, without Grant, it's going to be one of their better chances to win down there. But can they win down there? Do they have what it takes? We know Robbo and the Roosters have got an awful record against the Panthers and the Storm. Can they get the monkey off the back? Can they have a win down in Melbourne? We know how hard it is to win down there. Have they got the potential in the team to win it? Absolutely. By an absolute country mile. This team is probably top 4 on paper in my opinion. We've seen how well they've been playing recently. They've touched up the Doggies, not the weekend gone, but the weekend before that. And then they've got the Rabbitohs next week. So even though the Rabbitohs are out of it, they can easily put up a fight against their rival. So Roosters, even though they're 8th, they're 1 win ahead of 9th. They are nowhere near locked in for finals in my opinion. I'll go through quickly the Dolphins and Manly. They're both on 26 points. Manly, so Dolphins, they'll definitely have to win this week and next week to have even a slight chance. They've got the Titans this week. They should win. They've got the Raiders next week. There could be potential that the Dolphins are playing the Raiders at KO Stadium next weekend in the last round for a finals berth again, after losing to Newcastle round 27 last year for a finals berth. And then you've got Manly at 26 points on 10 at 10th as well. Their points difference is not good compared to the Dolphins. They will need to win this week against the Dragons, probably convincingly, and then they'll also need to beat the Warriors next week at home to even have some sort of a chance to making it. And then I'll quickly go through the last sort of 7 teams, guys. So we got Tigers are in 24. They got mathematically pretty much kicked out against the Cowboys. They did have to win that game to have any sort of chance to realistically make it. And even then, it was going to be tough. You can pretty much put a line through them. I'm pretty sure they're done for most of the season now. Cowboys 23. These are the teams that are absolutely out of the comp. They cannot make it anymore. So you got Cowboys 23 at 12th. Dragons 22 points at 13. Same with the Eels and the Rabbitohs. They're both at 22 points, just with points difference. 16th, you got the Knights at 18 points. So there is a bit of a gap between the Knights at 16th and then 15th, which is South. Got 2 wins different there. Even 3 wins, actually, looking at the South's record. They're on 9 wins. So Knights have had 6 wins. And then at the bottom, the Titans. 5 wins, sitting in the wooden spoon. Can they scalp a win in the last 2 games? If Knights go 0-2, the Knights will finish last. So the wooden spoon's still not decided at all. Not sure who the Titans and the Knights have got in their final round, but that will most likely be definitely deciding the spoon for sure. Alrighty, now if we get into the week that was just loading up it now, as I said, guys, before, if I don't get too much on your game, I do apologize. I wasn't able to watch all of the games in the weekend gone. I'll try able to watch as much as I can. I was able to watch the first game. Rabbitohs 40-0 against the Dragons. Just quickly get up the stats for you. Wow, this was super impressive by the South Sydney Rabbitohs from minute 1 to minute 80. I thought they were really in control. It's probably one of the better performances that they've had all year. They put in 7 tries to nothing against South. And in particular, it was the younger kids coming through for South that really shone through for them. So you're talking about Tallis Duncan, who has been an absolute weapon in the last sort of month to 2 months of South on that left edge, particularly left center. He scored another try. He's been killing it lately. Alex Johnson, he added another one to his tally. So they've got one more game this year which is against the Roosters of all teams, and he's got 2 tries to tie the record. I think he's going to do it. How does he not? Surely if Latrell plays the last round, they're going to be going left all day. All day. They have to get AJ this record. It'll be almost a full house against the Roosters. Last game of the season. Record on the line. Roosters going for the 8. The rivalry, the oldest rivalry in the league. It's like all coming to fruition for AJ to score 2 or even score 3. Break the record. and it'll be an awesome scene. It's going to be one of the best scenes you'll ever see in the history of the sport. Apparently, there should be like people flying anywhere on the ground. Once he does score, a crowd everywhere. They're trying to stop that, but don't stop it. Do not stop it. Like, this is history that will probably never be broken for years and years and years and years and years. Let's celebrate it. It's such an awesome milestone for the game, and I said, let's celebrate it. Like, and quickly, like, we're talking about Buddy Franklin's 1000th goal in the AFL, and the scenes for his 1000th goal was unreal. Yes, they had to pause the game for about half an hour to try and get everyone off the field, but it's a one-time thing. It's a once in a, not even a decade, or even 20 years or 30 years, probably once even a century maybe kind of thing that just happens. And you just don't get this opportunity often. Let's take advantage. Let's celebrate it. Another really good young performances, Jai Gray. I mean, let's have a look at this dude's stats. He scored a try. He had 31 runs for 350 meters. And we're talking about a guy who's about 5'6", 5'7". He's the smallest guy in the league, in the whole NRL, playing fullback, which is such a tough position in a sport, in a league now that is like considered not built for smaller players now. You've got to be beefed up. You've got to be tall. You've got to be big and have speed. And Jai Gray completely defies all of that with his size. And what he makes doesn't make up for in size, he completely makes up for in effort areas and just putting in 100% week in, week out. This guy has to be the starting fullback for the South Sydney Rabbitohs in 2026. It should not even be a debate. 3 tackle breaks to go with it. As I said, he was just on absolute fire. How can you knock 31 runs with 350 meters for your fullback? But the rest of the backs were really good. Tallis Duncan, as I said before, 21 runs, 219 meters, scored a try, had 3 line break assists himself, had a line break as well. And then the big one was just really good to see Ashton Ward. So Ashton Ward's been playing even a little bit of Jersey flag, I believe this year, even New South Wales Cup, and you can tell on the field how young he looks and how like he's still got so much development to go as a good thing. But you can clearly see the base that is there for him, which is awesome, and the ball playing that he has. And 6 out of 7 conversions, put up some really nice assists. He had 10 runs himself, which is good to see. Had a line break assist, had a try assist to go with that as well. He just looked like he fit in out there, and then easily his best game at 6 for Souths. And if Souths are able to develop him right, keep him injury free, keep him at Souths, there is no reason he cannot be the 5'8" for the next 5 to 10 years. No joke about, like, no question about it. And this is exciting for Souths. They need a player like Ashton Ward, if they can keep him, to be their 6 for the next 5 to 10 years, to be the next Cody Walker to come through and provide that bit more spark for their attack. We touched on the younger guys. I thought Tom Fletcher, he scored as well. I thought he was really good. Keon Kolomatangi, he played 70 minutes off the bench in his first game back off injury. 70 minutes, 19 runs for essentially 200 meters, 60 post-contact meters. Like, this guy is just an absolute freak. How many tackles did he have with that as well to go along with it? 31 tackles in a 70-minute effort, 1 missed tackle to go along with that. He was an absolute beast. He was everywhere. And again, same thing. He's an edge. He likes to play edge, but he has got to play in the middle. He has to be this big guy in the middle that can just charge Souths up the field and allow this talented backline to have a bit more space, quicker play the balls, and expose the other team's defense with the pace that Souths have. As I said, you've got Dry Gary at the back. He's not a stranger to having a run with the ball. He's fast. He's agile. Just get him the ball. Like, you know what I mean? It's just one of those things. So, really disappointing year for Souths. Really disappointing. They've played, think they've been really solid in the last month. They showed a bit of ticker. Which is what we wanted to see. When they had about 7-8 losses in a row, you didn't see it, in my opinion. Yes, they were so battered and they were so injured. But you can clearly, the effort areas in this game particularly was definitely there. And I really thought they put in last week as well and the week before. And they may have been playing a Dragons team that's been a little bit tired. They just come back from New Zealand. 3 of their forwards are out for HIA. But like we've talked all year that the Dragons have been gritty and that they've showed, gallant effort and had close losses. But they got completely outplayed in terms of effort in this game. And full credit to South. 40-0, one of their best wins of the year. They've got a bye this week. They can take a lot of positives going to the last round against the Roosters. And if they are able to beat the Roosters, then they've got a really exciting preseason coming up. If they can just stay healthy, that is their main thing. They have to stay healthy. Quick one as well. Latest news today in regards to South. Cheese, Brandon Smith, he's been getting investigated by police in regards to some drug thing and some gambling thing. I won't get too deep into that, but I don't know if Cheese is going to be there next year. It doesn't sound too good from what we're hearing early. And is that the type of player that Souths need week in, week out around their system? No, I don't think so. Really sad to see how Brandon Smith has gone. Not a fall from grace, but he's the Kiwi number 9. He was so talented. He's absolute workhorse, and he's got this grunt that is built for rugby league, and he's just not using it to his advantage. And we can talk about all the talent in the world, but if you're not willing to put in the hard yards when it matters, there's no point being here. So there's been rumours that David Fafita is going to be there next year as a rumoured signing. And if you go by Des Hasler's press conference that we just saw in the weekend, he's saying that Fafita is going to be there next year. Now, we know for one thing now that Hasler will not be there next year at the Titans, but is Fafita going to be there? He's gone through a bit of injury this year, but he's also not showed effort as well. And the same thing as Cheese, that if you've got all this talent but you're not willing to put in the effort, it's going to show on the football field as well, compared to the guys that work hard day in, day out, and may not be as talented as someone like Fafita. Because we know Fafita on his day is when he's fit and firing, he's probably one of the best top 5 edge rowers in the comp. He's an absolute weapon, and he should be making Queensland State of Origin sides, but he's not. So why? And that comes down to your fitness, and it comes down to the effort areas. I said, no, he's been injured, but that's what it comes down to in my opinion. So quickly touch on the Dragons. I won't talk too much about them. There's not too much to really talk about. Just really poor. End of the season. They just look tired. They just look flat. Couldn't really provide a whole lot in attack, putting up a donut. And they just really struggled with their go forward. They lost 3 forwards last week against the Warriors, the HIAs. And I don't know, just looking at the stats now, Gutho, he ran for 210 meters, which is good, definitely from your fullback. But defensive-wise, he got absolutely torched, especially on that last try by Tyrone Munro. He got absolutely wrecked. So it's going to be interesting to see where we see the Dragons go to next year. You've got King Tongia, and you've got Kyle Flanagan there in the halves. You've got Daniel Atkinson arriving then next year from the Sharkies. He's probably expected to go straight into the halves. But it's just interesting to see where this team is going. They've been praised all year for their effort. Their effort and how well they've looked like they've been playing, and how much they look like they're going to improve. But we just looked at they're 12th in the ladder. They just got smoked in the weekend. They've lost a lot of tight games. And then another team that's on the same points as them doesn't get as much praise because just of who they are. And I'm just talking about the Tigers there. So, as I said, that is your Roosters and Dragons game there. That was your Thursday night game. We'll go into Friday, and Friday was an absolute doozy. So I was able to watch most of this game. I was on the Gold Coast Friday night. Raiders get the win against the Panthers 20-16, as we know, in Golden Point, in Mudgee, and my God, this game just absolutely lived up to the hype. We'll start with the Raiders forwards and how they prepped. You're looking at Joe Tarpany, you're looking at Corey Horsburgh, and I thought they absolutely took it to the Panthers defense. I thought they absolutely took it to the Panthers forwards. Corey Horsburgh, just looking now, he had 53 tackles. He was an absolute monster. I believe Tarpany was very similar as well. He also scored a try. Tarpany, wow, 47 tackles, 3 missed. Yeah, Horsburgh 53. Like Zach Hosking had 51 tackles. And that is the effort areas, making that many tackles between those 3 of them. And that's what you want to see from your starting edge and your 2 starting props. I thought Tarpany was awesome. He scored an awesome try. He just puts his team on his back week in, week out. Same performance, week in, week out. It's so close to like a 9 out of 10, if not a 10 out of 10 every week. This guy does not have a bad game. We'll definitely see him at the end of the year for New Zealand playing. We've already touched on that ending try a little bit, which is unreal. The support by Bakeo and especially the run by Ethan Strange. And I mean, Ethan Strange at the moment, like we're talking like about the talent that you see with 5'8" going around like your Lockie Galvins and even someone like an Ezra Mam. Ethan Strange does not get talked about enough at all, in my opinion. And he's one of the absolute informed sixes in the comp at the moment. In my opinion, he is definitely developing better than Galvin at the moment. I know Strange, he's about a couple years older than Galvin, but like there's the potential that no one's talking about this, that Ethan Strange could be the New South Wales future 5'8" in the future. Like, why not? Like, we're talking about Galvin, we're talking about Katoa. Like, we're seeing such an improvement from Ethan Strange, particularly from even just the start of the season to now. And you love to see it. He scored a try to essentially tie it up for the Raiders, and then Fogarty missed a conversion to take the lead. That was in the 74th minute, and it was all individual brilliance. Like, I mean, who else is going to be stepping up for the Raiders at the moment on attack? It's him. That's what he's doing. Quickly, the Panthers. Not the best performance. Like, I think they definitely feel they can play a bit better. They were off in a couple little areas, but they still were right in the contest. They were leading pretty much majority of the game. They scored first with McLean. He actually got a double. Casey McLean is in unreal form at the moment. As I say, he scored a double against Matt Timokor. From what I've heard, that was essentially a battle for the New South Wales Kiwis left center, or like one of the center jerseys. McLean scored a double. He was up against Timokor, and he scored a double. He absolutely torched him. Bizarre, he keeps doing the damn thing. 19 runs, 250 meters. Man does just not stop. He just keeps going. One of the best wingers, if not the best winger in the NRL. And bit of a weird one. We don't really see this too often, but Dylan Edwards, he's just a bit out of form at the moment. Like, this, cool, you can look at the stats and say 24 runs, 213 meters, had a line break assist, had a try assist, 6 tackle breaks. He had about 3 errors in the space of about 10 minutes in the second half. He had 6 tackles. He missed 4 of them. One of them being that massive missed tackle on Ethan Strange in Golden Point. I think it makes total sense to give him a rest this week. Get him ready for that last week. Get him ready for finals footy. At the moment, he's not the Origin fullback caliber that we know of. So we'll see how he bounces back. Essentially, he should be rested. He will not be named tomorrow, I'd say. As I said, he will most likely be named in the last round when they play the Dragons. But just a bit odd, and it was just a bit sort of strange to see. And another one I like to talk about as well, because I think stats-wise, you doesn't generally see it, and I think we're seeing a bit less of an impact from him this year, and that's Liam Martin. So Liam Martin is known for his big impact plays in Origin, in your grand finals, generally defensively, but for an edge rower still, starting 7 runs to 46 meters. And he played the whole game as well, guys. He had 84 minutes. Yes, he did score a try. This 7 runs for 46 meters is a pretty common thing that's sort of starting to happen week in, week out, but he made 40 tackles, 4 missed to go with it. Like, you know, in this, I'm only saying this because Liam Martin gets compared to some of the best edge rowers in the NRL. He's a starting edge for close in Australia. He's a starting edge for New South Wales this year. I don't think he's been playing to that standard. Watch him prove it to me come finals time with that intensity that he generally does bring. But if we're looking at like what Liam Martin we know he can bring to what he is bringing to the Panthers at the moment this year, I don't think it's anywhere near it, and I don't think it gets talked about enough. So we'll see how that goes. We'll see if he gets rested this week. The team list still have not come out yet, so it is Monday when I'm recording this. So we'll see. Next game, this was an absolute cracker as well. Friday night, Storm defeat the Doggies 20-14 down in Melbourne. I thought this was a really good contest. I thought the Doggies put up an awesome fight in this one. We definitely are expecting it after the Doggies' disappointing loss the week before to the Roosters. I think the Doggies can hold their head up high. They scored 3 tries each, just a couple missed conversions. The Crichton put down, the re-grab after he tipped it a little bit off the kick. At what point do we go off the letter of the law that he has to properly regather it, like grab it and then put it down? Like, that was one of the cleanest put downs from a one-handed going down that you will ever generally see. And if it wasn't, if it didn't tip off him, and let's say it tipped off Tracy, or it just bounced and then that happened, it's a try every day of the week. But because he had to regather it before putting it down, he had to actually grab the ball in his hand and then put it down, that means it wasn't a try. Oh, it's a bit weird. I can see why Crichton kind of blew up a bit. He actually even, the bunker checked it, and then he even asked to challenge it after to challenge the bunker. The people that do the challenges, that review the challenges, is the same people in the bunker. So he wasn't allowed to challenge. He was never going to win that one. Obviously put a massive difference in the game. That would have made it 20-all, because that was right under the sticks, and you just never know what was coming after that. So players-wise, I thought Pappenhausen, I thought he wasn't too bad. He scored a really good try straight through the line for the Doggies. First game back, I thought he was okay. Not too much, not too effective, but he's always going to be such an effect on that Storm lineup anyway. Nick Meaney, he scored... no, he did not score a double. Xavier Coates again. He's just a freak. They score an awesome try, break down the right side. I believe it was Grant Anderson, made the line break down the right edge. He tried to kick it in or pass it in. And then somehow the ball ended up to Munster or Pezzett, or even Wishart, and just saw the open space to the left. And when you see open space to the left with Coates there, put the kick in straight away. And it's not like a kick that just bounced or it was a little bit offline. This ball landed straight in the chest of Xavier Coates, and he just fell over the line. That must be about 10 tries in his last 6 games, I think. He is absolutely, he's absolutely on fire at the moment. In terms of that backline, like, not a whole lot of meters. Like, you look at Seve, he got 55 meters. Meany, he got 79 meters. Coates, 119 meters out the backfield. Anderson, 111. Pappenhausen, he had 132. Wasn't a massive meters gained player. They just got the job done. They did what they needed to do. They got the win. They kept in second. Wasn't anything too flashy. As I said, they just got in. They got the job done. Interesting, really interesting to see how they'll go next week. No Harry Grant. He's been suspended 2 games. He misses this week and next week against the Broncos, which most likely means that someone like Wishart will probably go to 9, I would say, and he will play 9. That will force, I think, Pezzett to come into 7, Munster will go to 6, and then Pappenhausen will be at fullback. We know they've struggled a bit, definitely, without Hughes and without Grant, and we know how good Harry's been playing at the moment. And that makes such a huge difference to our attack. But that was probably a big talking point out of this game, was Harry gets binned, 10 in the bin, and they were able to actually still win that period 6-0. I believe it's when Pappenhausen scored that try. So they were actually still able to win down a man. They were able to win that period 6-0. So full credit to the Storm there. As I said, got in, got the job done. Wasn't too anything pretty. As I said, they had a man in the bin for 10 minutes. Just did what they had to do. As I said, got in, got out. They move on to playing the Roosters this weekend, which you'd think they would win, but anything can happen, especially without Hughes and without Grant. And then the Doggies. I thought the Doggies, they were always going to put up a better effort than they did last week. They were always going to turn up in Melbourne. And I honestly think they did. Galvin, he didn't show too much on attack that I thought, but running wise, man, he did not stop running the ball all night. Let's quickly check. 28 runs for 159 meters. Him and Matt Burton together over 50 runs and close to 300 meters in running attack. Like, you just don't really see that from halves at all these days. So Galvin's stat line, it's really good. So from a base point of view, didn't provide a lot of flair in attack that we know he can in the future. 28 runs, 160 meters though. He had a line break, 3 tackle breaks, and 24 tackles to go with. The big one there, he did have 7 missed tackles to go out of that. Not the best efficiency out there. Forced a couple dropouts though. And it's just a weird one. Like, he's playing 7. Like, he's going to be the future 7. You can know that he's the future 7 for their club. But Toby Sexton was top of the table with the Bulldogs 2 months ago, playing 7. Obviously, they didn't think that they were premiership threats enough that they were going to win the premiership this season. So, interesting to see, and Toby Sexton's now off the Catalans next year, and they've got a few other NRL players over there coming as well. So, I think the getting rid of Sexton and Marnie off that starting side has made a big impact for them for sure, and they're still adjusting a bit with Galvin at 7 and Bailey Hayward at 9. They're just sort of struggling to put up the points a little bit at the moment. They're just struggling to finish that off. I think, can they work it out? I don't know. I need to see how they play against the Panthers this week, even though it's their B team, and then even more importantly in the last round before finals. They'll most likely finish 3rd at this stage. They'll most likely be playing Melbourne again in 2-3 weeks' time for a home prelim. We know they've won down there before. We know they can play well down there. Can they play well down there in a finals game? We'll wait to see. Heading into a Saturday afternoon, holy hecker. As I said, wasn't able to watch too much of this game, but DCE's 350th, which was awesome to see, about the 6th or 7th player to do it, along with Ben Hunt in the same weekend. You just knew Manly absolutely love an occasion at home to play for. DCE 350, they were always going to turn up for this game. They absolutely blitzed the Dolphins 58-30. And this was with a try in the first minute to the Dolphins as well. They're up 6-0, nice and early, and then it was all pretty much Manly from there. They score a couple quick tries, Manly. After that, even JMK scored one. It was 12-all for a bit there. And then Manly just do what they can potentially do. Like, they have the potential to do. They went into halftime up 22 or 24-12, I believe, or 22-12. And they just absolutely put on a clinic in the second half. Turbo looked like the Turbo of old. No, I was not an owner and super coach. Turbo scored a double. Lehigh, he also scored a double. I thought Luke Brooks, I thought he was really good in this game as well. I thought he was quite creative of what he was doing. But it was just an absolute smashing by Manly. Honestly, the Dolphins defense in the last month, they've gone, conceded 58 against Manly. They conceded 60 plus against the Roosters. They nearly conceded 50 against the Broncos. They also had another really shoddy performance in there. And it's such a shame to see. They were looking so good for finals. I talked about this last week, and it kind of feels like they've sort of blown that opportunity now for them. They now have got to go beat the Titans and now have to go beat the Raiders next week to try and even have a chance of having a finals appearance. So it sucks to see a little bit. But yeah, we'll go back to Manly. We'll talk about Turbo. So as I said, he scored 2 tries. He had 22 runs to 205 meters, which is what you want to see from Turbo. You want to see him getting his hands on the ball and running. That's where he's most dangerous. 50 post-contact meters, 2 line breaks, 2 line break assists, 3 try assists to go with it, 2 tackle breaks, and 5 offloads. That's the Turbo of old that we know. He was so due for this game. Feels like he's kind of been building up for it a lot of the year. He's just been hampered a little bit by that injury. He looked like he was about 80-85% all year. Looked like he was about 90 to 95% this game. He looked like his old self that he was at fullback. Still nowhere near compared to your 2021 season, but I don't think we're honestly going to see that ever again. Collar, he had an awesome game as well. Again, 15 runs, 186 meters. But your main one on the left side, his wing partner, Lehigh Hopewade. We know how talented Lehigh is. He scored 2 tries. He had 18 runs, 251 run meters, 55 post contact, 4 line breaks. Like 4 line breaks in a game is insane. 2 try assists to go on top with these 2 tries, 5 tackle breaks. He was absolutely like electric. He was everywhere. He is so good, and he's most likely only just going to be on the wing for Manly in the future. Like, well, as long as you still got Turbo there, see what happens with his health. You still got Kohler there. You still got Garrick there. There's still so many options. I know Lehigh is the second option, but man, that backline is talented. Mentioned Luke Brook before. He got 2 tries as well. He was really impressive. 15 runs himself, 116 meters. He had a line break, 2 line break assists, and a try assist as well. DCE in his 350th didn't score, which is a bit annoying for my little multi, but he actually kicked goals. He went 9 from 10. And these weren't attempts just like from the middle. He was absolutely slotting them from the sideline. Little cheeky fade as well. He had 22 runs, 171 meters, which was really good to see. He had 2 line break assists, 3 try assists as well, 3 tackle breaks. Again, he was everywhere. And like, if there is ever an occasion for Manly to turn up, it was this one. Their club captain, their club legend, 350th game. I thought he was kind of not back to his old ways, but, you know, DC turned up for what he needed to do. I personally think DC has been a little bit disappointing this year. He obviously got dropped as the Queensland captain earlier this year for Tommy Dearden. So at this stage, they're probably not going to be making finals. There's still a mathematical chance. They'd have to definitely win this weekend against the Dragons and definitely win next weekend the weekend after against the Warriors. Still no announcement of where DC is going next year. If you're looking at that performance, yeah, he should be playing next year. Robbo's probably looking at that and saying, yeah, sign the Roosters contract right now. I don't think the Roosters need him whatsoever. It's going to be really interesting to see where he lands up. It does look like wherever he does land, he'll most likely retire, obviously, there and have a coaching job after as well, most likely being like the halves coach or something, which for a developing seven, like potentially like a Sam Walker if he goes to the Roosters, or Asaya Katoa if he was to go to the Dolphins, that's awesome development for them. Like, we're still talking about the Queensland captain for like the last sort of 5 years, even more, and then a Queensland legend as well who's played over 20 Origins now. So very, very valuable asset to still have to a team. Quickly touch on the Dolphins. I won't do too much because they were really disappointing. Shout out Fine Fuiaki, got the monkey off his back. First try of his year. I believe he was injured for about 5 or 6 weeks during the year, so it's about his 19th game. Got the monkey off the back, which is good to see. But again, they were in it at the start. They scored a couple tries at the start. They looked really competitive. Looked like they were really in it. The defense, again, is just abysmal. They're just like losing tackles from everywhere. Like, just looking at the stats, there's not too much to sort of shine from this. Like Asaya Katoa, he's still 18 runs, 117 meters. Nafahu, the young one, another left wing, he went for 20 runs and 198 meters. But looking at this, like, nothing else much. Like Molo, 98 meters. Kafusi, 83 meters. Oren Keeley, 60 meters. Donahue, 38 meters. Just not a lot left to be decided. Trey Fuller, 148 meters off at fullback. You probably expect a little bit more from him. Like, we know his potential and what he can do. But really sad to see for the Dolphins. I definitely expected a lot better coming into the back end of the season. And like the 58-30, it was definitely polished with Dolphins scoring. I mean, they scored 2 tries in their last 5 minutes, and they even scored 3 in the last 18. I know Manly scored 3 more after that, but like it was 58-18 with 5 minutes to go. So 40-point margin with 5 minutes to go. I said they've been spanked the last few weeks. It was 22-12 at halftime. Like, where do you look for the Dolphins here? Like, how is it a trap game against the Titans this weekend? Are they going to smash the Titans this weekend? Like, I don't know how your defense can get better overnight. It clearly has not gotten better overnight with the amount of points they have conceded now. So we'll see. I'd love to see the Dolphins really try and get up for these last 2 games. If there was potentially a chance that they could make the finals, I'd love to see it. It'd be so good to see them in the finals. So if they finished 8th, they'll be playing like the Sharks or Broncos, even maybe Warriors in 5th. You never know. Broncos, Dolphins in the first week of the finals at Suncorp. Sellout crowd. Like, the script can't write it any better. Like, that's probably what the NRL wanted and NRL wants. A sellout Queensland derby for a final. Like, it does not get any better than that, in my opinion. We'll quickly go to the next game. And as I said, I was here for this game, guys. My New Zealand Warriors getting up 32-18 against the Titans. And I thought for about 72 minutes of the game that the Wars were really, really in control of this game. And I walked away really happy. I was really nervous going into this game, knowing our record against the Titans previously, knowing what's on the line. I haven't been happy with the way that we've been playing lately, and I get it's just the Titans now that you say it's just the Titans, but I go back to our poor record against them. We lost to them a month ago in New Zealand. We lost to them 60-66 last year in the Gold Coast. We also lost to them last year in New Zealand on Anzac Day. It felt like all the odds were sort of against us, just not in good form at the moment. No Jackson Ford, no Mitch Barnett still. Really, really proud of the boys. We conceded that early try to Tino in the 3rd minute. I thought, here we go. But honestly, it looked really in control. We bounced back straight away near Corey a few minutes later. And then Roger, finally, They gave him the space that he needs, got the early ball, got some space to him on the left, and he scored a double in the first half. It was so good to see. And that's exactly what I'm looking for from like this left edge, and with Chanel and with Pompey on that left, to give Roger as much ball as he can so he can score the tries. The left edge was cooking. So Pompey scored one off a deflected kick. Roger scored a double. Quickly touch on Roger. This must be like the 4th, 5th week in a row he's done this. 19 runs, 245 meters. 86 of those were post contact. The 2 line breaks for his 2 tries in there. 6 tackle breaks to go with it. He was immense, especially through the middle. He took some really tough hit up thrusts getting out of our half and even getting into the Titans' half. He just gets that forward momentum. He just seems to get the first contact and then get a couple extra steps just to keep going. And it's so impressive. And really what we did need out of the backfield. I thought Dallin, he was a little bit quiet. Didn't do too much on the right. Very happy that they actually didn't let in a try on that left side to Phil Sammy. They nearly did. Dallin, 11 runs, 109 meters. Usually expect a tiny bit better. I thought, so probably one of his quieter games. But overall, look at our half. CHT, Tanner Boyd, I thought they controlled the game really well from pretty much start to finish. Generally, I'm really shit scared during Warriors games, getting really nervous, expecting like a 20-minute drop-off or expecting some sort of drop-off. And it didn't. We were really, really solid. Didn't really give the Titans a sniff, and it was really good to see once we got up to 18-6 to go to 24-6 and then go to 30-6 like after that, and really put on the points and really just nail that victory rather than let the Titans back in when we've got a 12-point lead or something. We just don't need that. And perfect win for us. I know it's just against the Titans. Perfect confidence booster to head into this week against Eels at home, our last home game, regular home game of the season. And then we got Manly, as said, in the last week. I think we need to go win-win to definitely secure top 4. Aaron Clark, he keeps doing the damn thing. 58 minutes. He went 15 runs, 127 meters. How many tackles did he make? He made 31 tackles there in as well. Shout out to Eddie Iremia Tuiava. He had his first ever try in the NRL off the bench. You love to see it. The boys absolutely got all around him as well. It was so awesome to see live. He was also off the bench. 13 runs, 147 meters, 69 post-contact meters. He was an absolute weapon for us. He was really good to see. Lecker, he didn't do too much off the bench. Just had 4 runs. He only played 26 minutes. But nothing else too much to report. I don't believe there's any sort of injuries or anything. I will say, Fisher Harris, he got smashed by Tina off the opening kickoff, dropped the ball. And you could see he tried to really rip in for sure to try and make up for it for the rest of the game. But he I think he had another error in there as well. And he's just been a little bit touch out of form, I think, in the last couple weeks. He played 60 minutes. Look, he went for 16 runs, 148 meters, 65 post-contact meters. But we're talking about, the New Zealand prop as well, and a guy who's won 4 comps in a row. Made 34 tackles, had 3 missed in there, 2 ineffective. I just thought he was just a little bit off his game. And he's our captain, and he is our standout forward at the moment, and we really need him to step up, especially in these last 2 weeks, especially in the finals. If we want to have some sort of chance, he has to step up. He has to step up to the plate. All right, the Titans. Titans are last. I won't talk too much about the Titans. They weren't awesome. The breaking news today is Des Hasler has been sacked as the coach of the Gold Coast Titans and already announced as Josh Hannay. So I really, really like this signing for the Titans in terms of a coach. Des had to go. That was pretty clear. He had lost the dressing room a little bit. His coaching tactics are not what they used to be at all. Definitely below average these days. The Titans are going nowhere as a club. Another wooden spoon, and really, really below expectations again. They had a ceiling of potentially like top 8, definitely for sure. I know Keeney's been injured most of the year, but we're talking about as, a club, they can do so much better. And I think Josh Hannay, he's finally got his opportunity as a head coach. He's been the assistant coach at Queensland, and he's also been the assistant coach at the Sharkies. He's an ex-Sharks player. And he's finally got this head coaching job for a club. And yes, it's the Titans, but he's a young one. He's younger as a coach. He's going to have fresh thoughts, though. And he's been in a really good system. He's been in Queensland, as he's been in the Sharks as well. 2 really good systems. He's going to take a while to get the boys to gel together. I think there's somewhat of a promise for them, or a chance for them in the future. And we're talking about Desi's press conference from Saturday with this journalist. And go about the journalist, but what was the journalist doing? I don't think that journalist has any right whatsoever to be asking him about Tafita, which is fine. I think, in my opinion, asked about a play for next year. Desi answered, said he's signed on until next year. But then to continue on and say, is he going on the market? Does he have permission to go on the market? You're not answering the question properly, Desi. And then after Des fights back and says he's signed till next year, he goes into say that, we had the Titans had a home game and the crowd was all Warriors fans, and it's an embarrassment. And I'll touch on that in a little bit, but it's completely out of line. There's no way a journalist should be asking a coach anything to do with crowd sizes or getting booed or anything. That's completely out of his control there. And the journalist completely ignoring the fact that thousands and thousands and thousands of Kiwis live on the Gold Coast as well. Everyone knew in the NRL that was always going to be more of a home game for the Warriors, just given the people that live on the Gold Coast and just what happens at that sort of game. Warriors fans are always going to turn up. And look, if I was a Titans fan, I'd be so embarrassed if I was there. They got booed when they ran out by Warriors fans. No cheering or anything. It was overshadowed by boos. The roar when the Warriors ran out or when they scored was like it was a home game. Easily at least 80% Warriors fans there in the stadium. I believe it was over 20,000 as a crowd. It's probably the biggest crowd the Titans have had in years and so long. Probably the last time was against the Warriors for this type of game. It felt like a Warriors home game, which was great. I mean, I was there and it felt like a Warriors home game too, but it should be a Titans home game, and it's not. Gold Coast either just doesn't get around the sports, or it's obviously not a good enough team. They're sitting last, or the tickets are too expensive. But on a Saturday at 5:30, that place should be packed on the Gold Coast. You think on the Gold Coast, if you're someone in your 20s who loves their sport, 5:30 Saturday. Let's just say you go to a Titans home game, $10 ticket, finishes 7:30. You get the tram, you go into Surfers, you go out that night, you have a really good night. And the nightlife is just there. Gold Coast, you're talking about Surfers Paradise, you're talking about a casino. You're talking about you can just go to a footy game and then go out straight after, like you would down in Sydney, you would down in Brisbane. But why it doesn't seem to apply to the Gold Coast, and that's what they have to figure out. Why there's clearly not a lot of culture going up there. And it just seems it's just a bit of a lackluster city for them to have sport. But we know Gold Coast has potential. We definitely do. So we'll see what it's like for the Titans in the future. I really like Josh Hannay as a signing. His big thing is going to be keeping Tino for the next whatever amount of years. If you're Tino, how do you keep playing there if you're Tino? It's just so hard. I have so much respect for Tino that he does it week in and week out, because he's just copping it, and he's so good, and he's $1 million player on his 10-year contract. But how do they keep him there? How do they keep him there? It's all up to Josh now. So we'll see how it goes. I wish the best of luck for Josh. I really like Josh Hannay, Queenslander through and through, and he deserves it. He deserves it for sure. So the Saturday night game. Holy dooly. I did not expect this. The Eels 30-10 against the Roosters. And we'll start with the Roosters quickly. The Sam Walker cop the HIA in the first half. That was always going to make such a difference to them straight away. But really flat game by the Roosters. I didn't get to watch too much of this game. It does, like, looking at the stats, like, you look at James Tedesco, he did score, but he's known for his hard work and his amount of runs that he does. 18 runs, 110 meters. 110 meters from Tedesco is nowhere up to his standard. Just a bit of an off game, like one line break. He had one offload. He had like 5 tackles. As I said, he scored a try, but Supercoach wise, he put up about 40 points with a try, with a line break as well. Pretty disappointing. Quickly touch on a highlight for them, and that is Nawanga Nitawase. And if you're a Wallabies fan or you more prefer your Union over League, you must be just seeing these highlights and going, how the hell did we let this guy go? How? Because this guy he is a freak. He is a genetic freak, an athletic freak. To do the stuff he does some sort of flick offload every single game. The main one for this one was his try assist to Robert Toya, running to the right wing and just completely behind the back, straight inside, perfect on the chest of Rob Toya, completely forward the defense. It's just like, this kid is a freak. He's an absolute gem, and he's exactly what the Roosters need at the moment. 18 runs, 126 meters. He's getting a little bit better at the run game. 50 post contact out of that though. He had 2 line break assists and even 2 try assists to go on top of that. So he was awesome on the Roosters radar. 3 offloads to go with it. Rob Toya, he scored as well. I thought he was quite solid. Probably one of his better games since, let's say, the Origin series. I think he's been a little bit on the quieter side. 112 meters from 12 runs. So that's nearly, 10 meters a run. 48 post contact. Had a line break, obviously, for his try. But I just thought where they got dominated was just really in the middle. They got absolutely killed. And if I'm looking at the stats of their forwards now, Naf White, 97 meters. Lindsay Collins, 60 meters. Angus Crichton, 88 meters. Sua Wong, 43 meters. Victor Riley, 99 meters. Even on their bench, Fekete, he had 3 runs, 25 meters. Egan Butcher, 76 meters from 10 runs. Lenu, 61 meters from 6 runs. None of their forwards exceeded above 100 meters. It is pretty bloody hard to win a game of footy when your forward pack is just not rolling the way that it's meant to. Really, really struggled there. Just couldn't get any sort of go forward. I believe I saw a stat in the second half. They completed 6 out of 18 of their sets, which is 33%. Which you're never, ever going to win a footy game, completing at 33% in a half of footy. So, really disappointing by the Roosters. They've got a huge chance to bounce back next week in Melbourne. I think they have to turn up. They've got no other choice. It's a perfect game for Teddy to turn up and show why he is potentially one of the best players in the comp. Excusing this performance, he is going to absolutely shit in. Absolutely shit in Dally M, in my opinion. I know I'm not a big fan of Dally M's, but he should absolutely shit in. Go across to the Eels quickly. Jordan Samrani, he scored a couple tries within, it felt like about 20 minutes. He played 19 minutes. Yeah, he scored 2 tries in 19 minutes off the bench. It was very, very impressive. He had 3 runs of the ball for 19 meters and he scored twice, which is crazy to see. This is the big difference that you'll see with the forwards compared to. So Jack Williams, he had 23 runs for 144 meters. Hopgood, he just had 90 meters. Paula, he just had 90 meters as well. But Matt Dory off the bench, 101 meters and 16 runs. Their back was a bit better. Backfield was a bit better. Ayongi, 141 meters. Lomax, 99. We know that's a quiet game from Lomax as well. He was rumoured to be a late out before the game as well. He did play. Did look like he struggled a little bit out there too. Penasini, 117. Even Dylan Brown. He's not a centre. Dylan Brown's a 5'8". 22 runs, 157 meters. Like, that's very solid. 22 runs from a centre who is a 5'8". Adokar, he even had 10 runs for 152 metres. He scored 2 awesome tries. One of them was the length of the field. One of them was off a beautiful kick. But I thought the star of the show was the halfback, Mitch Moses. He really controlled this game. He scored a try himself, had a conversion as well. He had 16 runs, 91 metres, but he was just everywhere. 2 offloads, 14 tackles. He had 4 missed, 23 kicks, 595 metres. He had a couple of awesome assists as well. He was just everywhere. He clearly proved why he's the New South Wales 7. In my opinion, he made such a difference to this team. Really just added like another layer and like another leg to this team, in my opinion. He set up a try for Fox, I believe, the second one off the kick. He scored that mint try himself with that little grubber through into the in-goal himself. Just really solid overall, all by Moses. Was able to take the game on himself and set up a really good win for the Eagles. I said 30-10. I don't think it was as dominant as 30-10. It was 14-4 at halftime. The Roosters were just so off. They were just so off the second half. You can't give yourself a chance with that completion rate. So the Eagles, they now go to New Zealand. They play my boys this weekend, which will be interesting. I remember them beating us last year in SJ's final home game, I believe that was, unless that was against the Doggies. I could be wrong. I definitely do remember them beating us last year quite convincingly in Auckland when they were favourite for a wooden spoon. So I really like Jason Riles. I've said that already before, I believe, a couple of weeks ago. I really like where he's taking this team in regards to the young players he's developing and just the overall effort that he's developing as well in this team. So they're definitely my smoky next year for the 8, no doubt about it. Quickly touching the Sunday afternoon games. Similar, didn't get to watch too much, but Broncos absolutely demolished Newcastle 46-12. And just to let you know, this was 14-6 at halftime. 14-6 at halftime, but it all started from Courtney Stagg. Straight off the bat, he went down the right side, got a line break, and then managed to get the ball back. Line breaks try. He was literally on about 1 million Supercoach points after 5 minutes. He has been in unreal form at the moment for the Broncos. He's finally, it seems like, going to his potential of what he can and being able to take these runs and take the hard runs and really show his aggressiveness, which we know he has, and it was so good to see. Let's look at his stats. As I said, he scored a try, 18 runs. Start of the year, he was easily under 10, maybe 10, 11, maximum 12, but 18 runs, 175 meters, 39 post contact, 3 line breaks in there, a line break assist and a try assist in there. 7 tackle breaks. He absolutely destroyed the Knights. He gave Bradman Best an absolute bath down on that Newcastle left edge there. Thought Reece Walsh, again, he was really awesome. He scored an absolute awesome individual try. Take away that try, he had 11 runs for 196 meters. That try was about 50 meters long, I'd say. But still, and that could have easily been a double as well. He handed a try off to Kobe, which there's been a bit of a comment about this try to Kobe, and it was a milestone game. Like, at the end of the day, I get the game was still in contest, but who gives a shit? He was gonna score anyway. Like, who gives a shit? Like, we see other players do it and it's fine, but it's like when Reece Walsh do it, it's like, whoa, he can't do that. He's not allowed to do that. We saw Herbie do it to someone else at the start of the year. I forget who that was. Like, what's the harm? Like, they still scored. They won by 34. This should be such a different conversation if they lost that game, 100%. But they didn't. They won by 34. So let's stop overreacting to him passing the ball off to Kobe. Whatever. He still scored 145 bloody Supercoach points, whatever it was. I don't own him. But this backline absolute torch Newcastle. Walsh, 196 metres. Karapani, 194. Staggs, 175. Shibasaki, 142. Dean Mariner, 252 of 21 runs. These guys were everywhere. Payne Haas, he played 69 minutes. 22 runs. This guy's a freak. 232 metres. 79 post-contact meters. He had a line break. He did score a try, 2 tackle breaks, 16 hit-ups, 3 offloads, 30 tackles, 0 missed. Like, he's just so far and beyond the best prop in the world. It's not even funny. This guy should be easily over on $1 million a year. He is so valuable to the Broncos. Broncos should be trying to keep him as long as they possibly can. He is the absolute heart and soul of this forward pack. He is so valuable and so needed to this team. I thought Jordan Ricky, he had a really good game as well. It's good to see him score a try. He had 14 runs, 140 meters. But, this is more about Newcastle, in my opinion, how disappointing they were. They just got absolutely blown out of the water. The defense has been really solid for most of the year. And now the floodgates are just starting to open a little bit up. They conceded, I believe it was at 36 or something last week to the Cowboys. And the Cowboys could have put way more on. And now have conceded 46 to the Broncos. And as I said, it was 14-6 at halftime. They conceded 32 points in the second half. It was really disappointing. And, there's a good chance I could get the spoon. Adam O'Brien, he has to go surely. And we talked about this last week, where they're going. They've got Dylan Brown arriving next year, and obviously KP's injured. They're moving Gagai, he's in the centres. Gagai is 100% a centre. Bradman got a bath. What are they going to do in the halves? What are they going to do at 9? Losing Leah Thompson next year as well. It just reeks, and it just absolutely reeks. And, Leo Thompson, he played 44 minutes. Jacob Saifidi, he played 46 minutes. Jacob Saifidi, 88 meters from 10 runs. Leo Thompson, 57 meters from 8 runs. What are we doing here? I just don't get it for the Knights, and definitely sums up most of their season. They go to Sharks this week, and they'll get absolutely spanked, I'd say. So, really unfortunate. And, they'll be looking ahead to next year for sure, and they should be getting a new coach, 100%. Alrighty, in the last game of the NRL Round 25 season, and we had, wow, what a game this was. I was able to watch most of this game. Cowboys defeat the Tigers at Leichhardt Oval, 34-28. And firstly, I just want to say, the Leichhardt Oval, I love Leichhardt Oval. I think it's awesome for rugby league. I think it's awesome for the Tigers as a club. I have not been there myself, but the scenes on a Sunday afternoon on the Leichhardt Hill, packed house, standing, it just gives you this retro rugby league vibes, and it just it's so good to still have that now in this day and age. Obviously it was around so much back in the 80s and the 90s, and I wasn't around for that, but you just cannot be watching footy on a Sunday afternoon in the springtime on a packed house, Leichhardt Oval, standing on a hill. You've got some of the most passionate fans in the whole game, and it adds to even more passion when they're standing. They're a bit more fired up. There's a bit more energy rather than just sitting down in a seat the whole game like you would at Combank or even a little bit of Campbelltown. They've extended another 15 years at Leichhardt. From what I've heard, it looks like they'll be having a minimum of 11 games a season between Leichhardt and Campbelltown. I believe it's a minimum of 3 or 4 a year at Leichhardt. I believe they have to actually pay to play at Leichhardt, which is a bit weird, but I saw a comment from Warren Smith on Twitter today, or X. He's saying, worrying about the financials and, what's it still going to be like when the Tigers are still playing at Leichhardt in 2041 and getting 19,000. And I can kind of see his argument, but he's fully thinking financial. 100%, but he's not looking at the fact that, does Tigers Cowboys game played at CommBank or Campbelltown draw in that crowd? I don't think so. Leichhardt has such an effect on this crowd size and has such an effect on the team as well and the morale. And it just feels like such a piece of history and such a piece of heritage and part of the West Tigers club. And you just can't imagine them not having Leichhardt there. And I love to see it, whether they won or they lost, for them to put up that performance as well, even though they lost. The crowd was amazing. And then you can only imagine if the 12th, they probably weren't going to make if they won, they probably still weren't going to make finals, but sellout crowd, you can only imagine if they're a top 8 team or a top 4 team, how that's going to look. And you haven't seen that from Tigers fans in 15 years. And the jerseys, the jerseys, so good. So good. The 05 jerseys takes me back to the first grand final I remember watching. And we'll talk about that try to Buller. All of it. It was started by Fainu. It was then Luai. Then to Taylor May. Went to the left edge, just like we saw in 05. Flicked it back inside behind the back to Taruva, just like we saw to the left winger like Benji did in 05 in the grand final. Against the Cowboys down the left side. Taruva gets it, step back inside, through the middle. Buller's there in support, under the sticks. Leichhardt goes absolutely berserk. One of the absolute tries of the season. And it's just what the passion and the fans jumping up and down. And that is, for me, that is what footy is almost all about. And that's what drives the players to, go train every day and work that little bit harder for moments like that where they can score this length of the field try at their home ground, like what they call the 8th one there in the world, in their Heritage 2005 jersey. And they pull off that and to take the lead going into halftime. It was 16-10. It was so good to see. They just couldn't get the job done, unfortunately. I guess credit to the Cowboys. Tigers were up 28-16 with 15 minutes to go. And then it was a try. I thought they were all over them. Brett Naylor, he scored a try over the top of Drinky off a kick. Under the sticks, you probably thought that was game over from there. 12-point lead. There's no points, no chance the Cowboys come back from this. And they just flick the switch. And it's such an annoying, frustrating team to try and handicap and try and evaluate every single week, the Cowboys. But this is what you get. You get poor and then you get elite. But the flick of the switch to go from poor to elite is... They do it so quick, and they seem to do it so well at times, and that's exactly what they did. They scored the 65th minute with Sammy Valame, scored not that longer after that with Braden Burns, 2 and 2 minutes, and 3 minutes later, Drinky gets the ball about 20 metres out from, 30, 40 metres out from his own line, straight down the left side. I believe he got through Taylor May, I believe it was, through there. Purdue on his outside. Purdue scores. They take the lead, get the kick, 34-28. They'll manage to hold them off for the rest of the game. But 3 tries in 5 minutes, just like that. Absolutely blitzed them. Seen a bit of controversy about the Tom Dearden try. I didn't have a problem with it, actually. I thought, it was a clear strip, but I don't want to get this nitpicky shit where it's in super slow-mo and he's knocked it on and it's gone forward by that much. I don't think it went forward. He's not intentionally trying to knock it on. I get the rule, but it was a clean tackle and a clean strip. I'm happy it got confirmed. I'm happy with that. I didn't see it being a disallowed try whatsoever. Quick shout out to Taylor May. Ever since his return to NRL, he has been unreal. He scored a double in this one in the first half as well. He only ran for 141 meters, but he seemed to be everywhere. He still had 3 line breaks. He had that line break assist. He had that flick out the back to Taruva for that try. 9 tackle breaks in there as well. He really lit it up on that left side for the Tigers. Really kind of gave he really did give Vilea a little bit of a bath in that first half for sure. As I said, he scored a double. Really impressive to see. Really good signing by the Tigers. Come back, play NRL, play with his brother. Another start of the shot, I thought Buller. I thought he was awesome. He obviously scored that first try, which, he scored that try down the field. He finished off that wonderful try. Main thing is 21 runs, 212 meters, which is what you want to see from their back with Jureen Buller. Had a line break in there as well, 9 tackle breaks, and a try assist as well. 2 offloads to go with it. Really solid game by Jureen Buller. And Luai, I thought this was one of Luai's better games of the season. He's been a really good moral part of the Tigers this year, but just hasn't quite kind of changed the games at all, or maybe up to his potential like what he was effective at Panthers. Luai scored. He scored in the second half. But main thing, 16 runs, 141 meters from Luai. We haven't seen that too much from him this year. 2 line break assists and a try assist to go with that as well. He was at his damaging best that we're used to seeing. Adam Dewey, unfortunately, he is out for the last 2 weeks of the season. We won't see him again for the rest of the season. Fractured cheekbone in the first half, just absolutely got a clobbered knee from Jason Tamalolo. That I cannot honestly think of anything worse than copping a knee in the head or the cheek from Jason Tamalolo. He got absolutely clobbered. Poor guy. He's been so good for them just in the last few weeks. And as it's such a shame to see his season go down like that. But just having a look at the other stats for the Tigers now, and really solid in the middle. Terrell May, you know what you're going to get. 16 runs, 159 minutes. He played 74 minutes, and he's just an absolute workhorse. Fanua Bole, 15 runs, 127 meters. Sam Walafanu, 16 runs, 158 meters. They had 2 guys in the back get over 200 meters. That was Buller and then also Taruva as well. Really good yardage out of the backfield. And I know this Cowboys defense isn't amazing, but you could see the pieces coming together. They still put up 28 points. I thought they played really tough, mainly for that first 65. They were 10-0 down early, but the credit to them for coming back, taking the lead at halftime. They're up 28-16. And they just fucking blew it, unfortunately. Going the Cowboys, we'll start with Drinky. I thought Drinky was pretty quiet for majority in this game, and then he just has the ability to turn it on when he can. He was on about 30 super coach points with about 10 minutes to go. Finished on 100, just so much junk at the end. He only ran for 151 meters. Probably a lot of that would have been in the last 15 as well. Had 1 line break assist, 2 try assists. Again, most of that would have been in the last 15 minutes. Just the 4 tackle breaks for Drinky. I thought he was a bit quiet until he had to really come out and perform. Jackson Purgey, love watching this kid play. He's going to be an absolute star, hopefully for Queensland as well. 162 meters and runs from 13. He also did score a try, which is really good to see. And Braden Burns, this guy's been really turning it on this year for the Cowboys. Really, really underrated. He scored a try, 23 runs, 198 run meters, 49 post contact, had a line break in there as well. A couple offloads, which is really good to see. And Jason Tamalolo got the start. It looked like he was back to what we know he can do. 17 runs, 175 meters. Back to his damaging best. Very similar stats to what someone like a Keon had. Big thing is, 52 minutes he played. 52 minutes. So he had a couple stints, both of 26 minutes. One in the first half, and then he came on and finished the second half. So he came on about the 54th minute and then finished the game off. He was really, really good for that go forward for the Tigers. Really impressive. McLean in the middle as well. The other prop, 101 meters. Not too bad there. Ruben Cotter, 100 meters off 10 runs. That's another not too bad as well. Shout out John Bateman. This was obviously a huge game for Bateman. A bit of a revenge game for him from the Tigers. I know he would be absolutely stoked with this win here. What else was there? But yeah, as I said, it was such like a Tigers-Cowboys game. You know, the Cowboys looked like flat or came out the blocks hot. First 10 minutes, 10-0 up, and then let the Tigers back in. And it's 28-16 before you know it. And you think, yep, the Cowboys, this is what they do. They're just aren't they good? Tigers looking for 3 wins in a row, been building up really nicely. And the Cowboys they can do it. They have the ability. They have the ability to do this, and it's quite freaky. 3 tries, 15 minutes to finish off the game, win 34-28. They now go and play the Broncos this week. Queensland Derby, I don't like their hopes, unfortunately. The way the Broncos are playing at the moment, I don't give much of the Cowboys of a chance. They're paying about $2.60, I think, at the moment. See how they finish their season. That's their last game. They do have a bye in the last round. That caps it off for NRL Round 25 review. Let me get into the quick breakdown for the NRLW Round 8. So, couple of huge scorelines this week. All started on Saturday afternoon. And the Raiders, back-to-back wins now. They had their first win last week against the Warriors. Now come back home against the new Bulldogs team, and they put on 56 points. 8 out of 10 conversions as well. Just an absolute all-world performance. It was 28-12 at halftime. And they just absolutely pounded the Bulldogs into the ground. Let's have a quick look, see at the stats. So, Raiders having a really good win against the Doggies, 56-24. As I said, that gets them off the bottom of the table as well. I'll actually take a quick look at the ladder now before I actually do get into all the games. Roosters still sitting at the top, 8 wins from 8. They're sitting on 16 points. Broncos, 7 wins and 1 loss. They had another good win on the weekend against the Knights. They're sitting second alone at 14. Cowboys, again, had another good win. They're sitting on 12 by themselves, 6 wins, 2 losses. Sharkies and the Knights are at 10 points there, but sitting at 5 and 3. And then there's a bit of a gap. So you got the Titans at 7 points, the Warriors and the Eels at 6, and Doggies at 5. Titans have slipped. The Warriors, they did have a loss against the Sharkies on the weekend. Very disappointing. 5th loss of the season. The only kind of good thing to take is Taki Moana scored again. I think she's got 11 tries now this season. I think she's leading the comp by actually quite a while in terms of tries scored this season for the ladies. Bit disappointing to see them drop out the 8 again, but we go down the ladder. Bulldogs in 5, Dragons sitting in 10th on 2 wins with the Raiders now as well, and the Tigers are sitting at the bottom, 1 win, 7 losses, points difference of 116. They actually do play the Raiders this week, so that'll be interesting to see how that goes. Bit of a bottom of the table clash. That kicks off Saturday afternoon. That's the first game. But we'll quickly touch on the rest of the games. Saturday, continuing, had the Titans. They beat the Dragons 22-4. Nice and good win there. Believe one of the Titans ladies had a hat-trick in that game, which is really cool to see. Georgia Gray scored a hat-trick, which is cool. The Roosters, holy dooly, they absolutely smashed the Eels. I believe this is actually quite tight at halftime too. 12-all at halftime. It finished 56-12. 44-0 in the second half. 44-0. Tyron Aiken, she scored a double. Taina Naividi, she scored a hat-trick. Jess Serger, she scored a double. Isabel Kelly, she even scored one herself. Just absolutely running riot. Just absolutely killed them. There's a reason why the Roosters are at top of the table, the girls at the moment. They're 8 from 8. They're absolutely destroying teams at the moment. Broncos, again, there's a reason why this team is second. They had a bit of a slow start against the Knights, so down 10-0, I believe, nice and early. And then, again, turned it on. They scored about 3 tries in about 5 or 6 minutes just before halftime. So they were able to gain some really good momentum. They're up, 18-16 at halftime. Finished 46-16. So, again, another really dominant second half. What was that? 28-0 in the second half. Tamika Upton scored. Julie Robinson scored again. She was my Women's Player of the Week last week. Just keeps doing the damn thing. Really, really impressive. This is the frustrating one. Sharkies 22 against my Wars 14. As I said, Peyton Takimoana scored again. That's her 11th try for the season. Taira Wetere, she scored a double. So that's our Warriors points there. Sharkies, we had the lead 10-6 at halftime, but another yellow card in the second half, which was disappointing, and just weren't able to convert our chances. So they will look to try and improve that next week. That's back-to-back losses now after back-to-back wins. We do have the Dragons Saturday afternoon. I hope we can beat them, man. I hope they can bounce back. And then to finish off the NRL Round 8 was Cowboys getting a win over the lowly Tigers at the moment, 30-8. Pretty nice and convincing win. Not too much trouble for them. Cowboys, they went 5 for 5 conversions, up 12-6 at halftime. Just really solid, sitting in the top 4 at the moment, as the Tigers are just really struggling. So that was 12-8 at halftime. Finishes 30-8, so 18-0 in the second half there for the Cowboys. Guys, that will do it for another episode of the Squishy Sports Podcast. Hope you all really enjoyed it. Covered all the latest sporting news around the globe. Thoughts on my Warriors. Thoughts on the All Blacks losing to the Pumas. Also, obviously, covered your NRL and NRLW rounds. And don't forget my Women's Player of the Week, Paige Beckers, from a rookie from the Dallas Wings in the WNBA. Full credit to her. I'll be giving a bit of a shout out on my Instagram and TikToks. You'll see her during the week. Keep an eye out for more reels and stuff during the week as well. I really appreciate the support I've had so far. I've had so much fun doing this, and I can't wait to see you guys all again next week.